of things, which means you can watch this video before or after you read the chapter. It doesn't matter, because what I'm going to do in this video is introduce you to the most basic communication model there is, which is the sender-receiver model. Sender-receiver model was created in the 1960s, so it's about 60 years old, I think. And it hasn't really been updated a ton since. And so before I show you the sender-receiver model, what I want to do is give you another visual to think of, and we'll relate it all back in due time. Okay, so I am not an artist. Bear with me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on the board here, and hopefully you can see it. We've got one square at the bottom, and we've got 3 squares up here, and I'm going to draw these lines to connect them. So maybe this is starting to look like something to you, I hope. Okay. Then I'm going to draw this other little figure in here. Maybe it's starting to look a little more like something to you. Okay, what I'm hoping it looks like to you is a baseball field. Okay, so we've got our home plate with our bases and our pitcher's mound in there. So, for the sake of this lesson, what I'm going to say is, I'm the coach, you all are the players, and we are about to start a new game, so I want you to run out onto the field and warm up a little bit. Okay, so that means we're going to have somebody at all of the bases, we're going to have somebody at shortstop, and we're going to have somebody at the pitcher's mound. We're going to have our 3 people in the outfield. You're all on the field. You're getting ready to warm up. And what a warm-up means in baseball is you're going to throw the ball around. Okay, so we have maybe the pitcher throwing to the catcher. We have maybe our people in the outfield catching pop flies or practicing throwing them to each other. We've maybe got third base throwing to first base, second base throwing over here. We've got a lot going on. And the longer we're out on the field warming up, the more arrows we can draw and the more chaotic this gets. That's the point. This is going to be a huge mess of people throwing balls all over the field as they warm up. But the reason it doesn't switch over from a warm-up to chaos is because these people are on a team and they're working together. They're giving each other visual cues. Yes, I am ready to receive the pitch from you. No, hold on, wait. Hey, I've got this pop fly. Whatever it is, I'm not great at baseball. That's not the point. They are communicating with each other as this cycle goes on, and I could draw a million arrows of combinations of who is going to throw the ball to who during this warm-up, okay? So what we started with was a really basic playing field. There are 4 places for the opposite team to be in any given inning, right? And what we ended up with was a huge mess of arrows. There are a lot of other possibilities. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind, and I'm going to turn the screen, which is now very, very crooked, to this board where I'm going to draw out the sender-receiver model for you. So in the sender-receiver model, let's say I am your sender. Hi, okay? You are the receiver. You're over here. You're happy too, okay? I am going to say something to you. You are going to hear it. And when I say something to you, it's encoded. That's the word I'm writing on the board, encoded, in case you can't read it, by the dialogue that I use, the type of words that I use, the language that I speak, where my eye contact goes, what my hands are doing, which is a lot because I'm Italian. Okay, there's a lot going on in my encoded message to you, in addition to the words that are being said. And you're going to decode it. That's the word that's written on the board now, decoded, okay? So I say something to you in my language and style. You hear it, and you decode it. This can happen in a split second, okay? It's happening right now. Even though we're not in front of each other, I'm saying something to you. Hopefully you're nodding along in agreement or in understanding with me. And that's happening instantly. Once that happens, if we're engaging in a conversation, now we start to get some arrows like that baseball field did, okay? And it's feedback on both sides. I have said something to you. You've decoded it. You're going to offer me feedback. I'm going to offer you feedback, and around we go in the cycle of our conversation, okay? This is really, really simple. It was created before a lot of things existed, okay? So this was created, like I said, in the 60s, which means there were not cell phones. There was not the internet, okay? The TV wasn't on all the time. There were a lot of things in this model that are missing because we've just simply advanced in time, okay? And so the model now could potentially look a lot more like this if we factor in the media world, Does that make sense? Okay, so the purpose of explaining all of this to you is because one of the things that your book says this week is that social media often isolates and disengages us, but it can also heighten our individualism. So we can get in a little bubble and get on our screen and not talk to anybody, or we can get in a little bubble and get on our screen and find like-minded people to talk about things that we think are really cool. Okay? So media multitasking has led to growing media consumption. Okay, so today's youth now doing 2 or more things at once in a different way than we all might have originally been doing 2 or more things at once, are engaging in about 10 hours and 45 minutes worth of media in about 7.5 hours, okay? Because I've got my computer in front of me, my cell phone. I've got another computer in front of me, the laptop or desktop computer. I've got maybe a third media screen in the corner, which would be my TV. I've got 3 to 4 items of media surrounding me at all times, and I'm listening to several of them simultaneously. So I am consuming what is about 10 hours and 45 minutes worth of media into 7.5 hours. Okay? It's taking me less time to consume more. Doesn't mean I'm doing it well. Doesn't mean I'm going to remember any of these things, but this is what I'm doing. So what I want to pose to you in one of the questions in your worksheet this week, which is in the course content section of this website, is how are Facebook posts and Snapchats and Instagram images affected by the sender-receiver model? What I want you to do is update this model. Okay, so this is the basic model, and you've got a far better picture of it in your worksheet for this week, and I want you to update it. I want you to pick out any form of social media and create a new image. We don't want to use the baseball field again. Create a new visual for us or a new example to explain how Instagram is affected by the sender-receiver model, how the sender-receiver model works in a text message. Okay? Take a form of communication that is done digitally and create an updated version of the sender-receiver model for us and use a new visual example so that we can all understand it. And if while you're doing that you have questions, you all have my email address, and I'll pop it at the end of this video as well.